But it gets worse, guys. It gets far worse, okay?
Wait.
Dude, why is he doing impression? What is wrong with this guy? Maybe I will skip this bit, actually. Yup. Yup. There it is, dude. There it is. Yup.
Proposition.
Yeah, take the most extreme version of this lawsuit possible. What the fuck does it change for Reddit? Nothing. Nothing. So it's just got, like, it has to be dishonesty, right? So, guys, legal mindset, ladyboy mindset, lazy eye mindset. Go East, gentlemen. We covered this the other day, we're doing it properly today. He's released possibly his dumbest video ever. Which is saying something, given that he's released videos where he states that audio recordings could be subject to laws that talk about visual depictions. So we are really kind of breaking new ground with this one. Yeah, he's released this video called Reddit is Legally Cooked, where he has some of the dumbest reasoning, some of the most blatant fuck-ups. The idea that this guy is getting listened to by anyone for, like, legal commentary is, like, genuinely disgusting. It's genuinely disgusting. And it's only allowed to continue because dishonest subhumans like Asmongold and Ethan Klein see benefit from propping this guy up, despite him being, I think, actually mentally disabled. I can't confirm that for sure. Significant chance that legal mindset Andrew Esquire here is legitimately mentally disabled. If not, he's a complete fucking liar. He's just a bold-faced liar. So we're going to take a look at this video and see Piscos' response, because this is totally shameful stuff.
Reddit is absolutely legally cooked. We're going to get into a bombshell leak.
Big claim.
That will change everything. Today on the Legal Mindset,
it's going to change everything.
We teach you to be your own judge.
Huge leak that's going to change everything. Well, that's promising.
All right, so we've been going through the case of Ethan Klein versus the orbiters of Hassan, including the Reddit mods. And in that, we've been looking at what's going on with them and also their legal liability. And we now have a leak, something that was brought to my attention and something that, as far as I know, nobody else may know about this, although Ethan Klein will soon be
nobody else has covered this. Nobody else has covered this. Do you think there might be a reason for that, Andrew? Andy, do you think there might be a reason for that? That no one else has covered the thing you're about to cover. That'll throw up any alarm bells in your head. Oh, maybe people haven't covered this for a reason. Let's see.
Very, very aware of this, and I'm sure his lawyers are going to be very, very interested in this because it blows wide open this case. Once again, Ethan Klein's
that's huge. I mean, that's huge.
Infringement, and he has massive power behind that lawsuit because the damages are in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, potentially millions, right? If you look at scope of damages from all of these creators.
Guys, Ethan's going to get millions from this lawsuit. He's going to get millions. He's going to get literally millions from this lawsuit.
Leeching revenue, leeching potential sponsorships, etc. Taking his content wholesale, he's got massive, massive liability. There's even potential punitive damages based on the intent, right? Based on the fact that these people had malicious intent to steal his content. So looking at that...
It's got to be a wig. Dude, why would you get a wig of a comb over? What sense does that make?
Reddit mods that were in this case, right? Because we obviously know Casey Tron, Denims, Frogan, all of these cast of characters are liable, but the Reddit mods are a big part of this. This is, by the way, totally not AI and totally an accurate photo of a Reddit moderator. I think it's very much real to life. But the Reddit moderators were hoping to hide. They were hoping to cower beyond their, behind their internet anonymity, right? They have power in the fact that they are anonymous and that nobody knows them and they can reach out and say things and do whatever. But now they're being exposed. Now they're being called out and they are.
So I thought people like Andrew liked internet anonymity. I thought they like internet anonymity. I thought they didn't like stuff like the Online Safety Act. I thought all the lolicons liked anonymity. Why have they all suddenly switched the moment they feel like they're in power? Huh, interesting.
They're terrified. They're absolutely
curious even.
Scared that they're going to be exposed in this, and they filed a motion of 700 pages trying to hide from responsibility. Well, that's not going to happen. Their identity is going to come out. And one thing that's been coming out is who these people are exactly. And the big news is that beyond all comprehension, we now have proof that Reddit is directly tied to these moderators, which are going to be sued. So let's go into here to this. So these are screenshots that were forwarded to me. Now you have one of these individuals here, one of these mods, nicknamed Roman P, who's listed in the lawsuit, right? So we're gonna look at these text messages or these screenshots,
it is cute,
which were sent over to me before they were deleted,
video,
right? Because once again, they were going back and deleting and sweeping these things up. But now we've got conclusive proof here that kind of nails them in here. So them saying, so he thinks he could sue Aspen and XQC, but he doesn't want to sue them. Why? Surely the reaction videos stole more views from him. Is this kind of admission he doesn't care about any potential financial damage, only about his personal beef? And then someone responds, did you know you're mentioned in the lawsuit? Just clicked on the first one, skimmed around it, and saw Roman P. So this moderator, this is the head moderator of this subreddit, is named.
I don't even know if that's true. I literally don't even know. I think they were a moderator. I don't even know if they're the head moderator. I don't know if that's true.
Shit ever. I can't believe this.
No substantiation from Andrew, so I assume it to be untrue.
Guess what? It's not going to be funny for them for very long. It's funny for me. It's hilarious for me. Then you've got them over here saying, I can't believe you're outing yourself like this. Classic mistake of criminals returning to the scene of the crime. So, you know, Roman P says, cat's out of the bag, now the real fun begins. So they're pretending they're going to have fun here now that they're named in this lawsuit. This is going to be fun for them. Certainly this is not going to be fun. We're going to see why.
Wow. We're going to see why, guys. Huge bombs dropping in this video, okay? We're going to see why this ain't going to be fun for this Roman P fella.
See here some cast
huge
characters,
stuff, okay,
including a very well-known Hassan Orbiter.
Yeah, I know. Legal Mindset is like, it's like Jim Walker legal analysis. It is the lowest of the low. This guy is the bottom rung of society. Jail people for bad legal analysis on YouTube, I think, personally. Jail people for shit like this.
And stand here, who's saying, we're going to build a shield wall for you. Roman P thanking this questionable individual, who is definitely a separate person and not me on just another one of my sock puppet accounts. Well, if that was actually the case and you were this individual, that would be even worse for Reddit because it'd have some negligent hirings, all sorts of other...
No, this guy didn't make his career on Johnny Depp. This guy's made his career on VTuber drama. VTuber drama, anime drama, lolicon drama. That's how this guy made his career. And Johnny Somali as well.
Stuff going on if that was the case. But once again, associating with some questionable characters and then going even further, showing the lawsuit, showing exactly where they are named. So highlighting that user, use/Roman P, which is there amongst others like underscore right salamander and...
So wait, let's run that back quickly.
Associating with some questionable the case, and you were this individual making this questionable individual, who is definitely a separate person and not me on just another one of my sock puppet accounts. Well, if that was actually the case and you were this individual, that would be even worse for Reddit because it'd have some negligent hirings, all sorts of other stuff going on if that was the case. But once again, associating with some questionable characters and then going...
So he seriously entertains the idea that Bad Empanada, who I assume is this account, given it's Bad Empanada and the real Bad Empanada is the user flare. I'm assuming that is Bad Empanada's account, or was one of his accounts. He is seriously entertaining the possibility that when this Redditor replies to Bad Empanada, thank you, you/Bad Empanada, who is definitely a separate person, not just me on one of my other sock puppet accounts. He's seriously entertaining the possibility that that's like a double bluff. That actually that is secretly Bad Empanada. So he's actually entertaining this possibility. But it gets worse, guys. It gets far worse, okay?
Even further, showing the lawsuit, showing exactly where they are named. So highlighting that user, use/Roman P, which is there amongst others like underscore right salamander and H3 Snark mod team. So they're clearly named in the lawsuit, right? Clearly named in the lawsuit. But here is the real bombshell, folks. Here is the thing that blows this case wide open and can lead to the absolute destruction of Reddit. This could be enough to tear Reddit down, the whole institution, if Ethan decides to pursue it.
Yeah, is negligent hiring a thing?
You know, he has no reason not to at this point. Let's flip over here. Let's flip over.
Especially in this context.
You have an admission.
Maybe with like immigration or something.
Like
right to work, maybe.
You know, he has no reason not to at this point. Let's flip over here. Let's flip over here. You have an admission, a 100% confession right here. They're saying concern level for you. This whole thing is so odd. Roman P. Again, the head moderator, saying not concerned at all, balancing working at Reddit and being the head moderator for H3 Snark has kind of been stressful, though. We have a confession right in front of everybody, in front of God and everybody.
And he's giddy. He's like giddy over it. He's like giddy over this comment. So, obviously, you know, maybe people are paying 100% attention or something. It should be immediately obvious to pretty much everyone, though. This is like almost definitely a joke. It's like almost definitely a joke. So this person says, oh, concern level for you. This whole thing is just so odd in response to one of the initial lawsuit posts. Not concerned at all. Balancing working at Reddit and being the head moderator of H3 Snark has been kind of stressful, though. Playing into the idea that Ethan has put out there that Reddit is in a conspiracy with H3 Snark to take him down. Obviously, at the time, you know, they were being named in the lawsuit for, what is it? Collaboratory copyright infringement or whatever it's called. Contributory? I can't remember. It's some word for, like, helping it. So, obviously, they're being named at this point. And this person is joking. I assume joking. Obviously, you know, there's always a chance that later on it comes out, this is a double bluff, and this person is actually a Reddit staffer the whole time, leaving room for that. But I don't think so. It seems to be a total joke where someone is just saying, oh yeah, haha, I work at Reddit. Ethan's right, actually. Ethan, you should be schizophrenic. That's the joke. And Legal Mindset is showing this, giddy as all fuck, so beaming. Got sent this, saw this on his phone as he woke up and jumped out of bed and started clicking his heels together as he was, you know, skipping down the fucking stairway to get onto his computer. Because this has blown Reddit wide open. Now, the other thing is that my understanding is, and we're going to watch a video about this next, I don't even think this would matter. I think even if the person was a Reddit employee, I don't know that it matters. Because not only would you have to do a lot of legwork to prove that Reddit was somehow responsible for whatever, or knew about it or whatever, but you would also have to, like the idea that it would be enough of a judgment to bring down or cook or even meaningfully change Reddit is like ridiculous, right? How much money would they lose on this? Let's say Reddit lose 3 million to Ethan Klein. Crazy upper limit, overestimation, super giving Ethan Klein everything there. 3 million to Ethan Klein. Okay, and what changes? What changes at Reddit from 3 million? Nothing. Nothing changes. It doesn't matter. No one cares. Like,
the head moderator is a Reddit employee, is working at Reddit. This person, which has civil liability now and potential, and once again, once we dig, there may be criminal stuff that comes out.
Right,
who knows?
Of course.
Right? They are on the hook for this. And they have put Reddit in a horrible position, particularly because we had the separate filing disclosure where we had Reddit admins offering us free subscriptions to privacy software to remove our PII from the internet in case we're doxxed and harassed. So this is called scrubbing evidence.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It is insanely unlikely that PII on just in a sorted place on the internet would be considered evidence that needs to be retained for this court case. Almost like infinitesimally small chance that that's the case. Even if that was the case, as long as they retain it, they can still scrub it publicly. So what's the problem? This is so dumb. This is so dumb.
They're deleting evidence, spoliation of evidence.
And then he calls it spoliation. He calls it spoliation of evidence. Spoliation. You're a lawyer. You're supposed to be a lawyer. And you're calling it spoliation of evidence. Like a fucking teenager. Like a teenager reading that word for the first time. Like you just started entertaining the idea of going to law school. And you've just read the word spoliation for the first time. It's spoliation? You mean spoil evidence? You mean like spoiling evidence? Spoliation? Like it's spoiled? Like you can't use it? Like spoliation, you fucking idiot. You lazy-eyed fucking idiot. Absolute fucking mong.
This is potentially criminal, even. And we want to know, is this the admin, Roman P., the employee of Reddit, that was offering the PII software? Are there others involved? These are all things that Ethan Klein can now dig into freely. His lawyers and Ethan Klein's infinite money glitch can go out there and dig into this and figure this out. And in case you guys need to understand the legal concept here, because of course we're on the legal mindset. We are always both educational and entertaining, which is why, by the way,
yeah, literally true. When he got that hit piece on him, he didn't know the difference between traffic tickets and trafficking charges, didn't he? Someone said it was traffic related. It was a traffic related offense, and he said, "He's accusing me of trafficking. He's accusing me of trafficking." And then there's the visual depiction, audio recording thing. He is like, it's like if I hadn't seen that he is actually a lawyer, I wouldn't believe it. Truly. Because he's like so fucking dumb. He is so dumb.
This is a Fast Facts video, the quick and dirty version of the latest in legal news. Make sure you like the video and leave a comment below if you like this type of content and you like us exposing giant leaks like this. So let's get into this. Vicarious liability. What does that mean? And of course, I'm very familiar with this as a corporate attorney.
Yeah?
I still am a practicing corporate attorney. Employers are responsible for the harm.
I'll let Pisco be the judge of whether you're familiar with that, Andrew, actually. Andy. Mr. Mindset. Mr. L Mindset. I'll let Pisco be the judge of whether you're familiar with vicarious liability or not.
Harmful actions of employees, even if not directly at fault. So this is one of the reasons why in the recent times people should be firing dangerous employees, because a dangerous employee, let's say you're a violent employee or a crazy employee, you don't want those employees around because of vicarious liability, because you can be responsible for the actions of those employees. If they go out and do something crazy, you might be on the line for them. Just like this, exactly like this. If you have an unhinged Reddit mod, which once again is a massive, massive risk, if it's somebody like this, you've got to fire them. You've got to get rid of them because they've now endangered your entire company. All of Reddit is at stake because of what they've done. They're completely open to discovery. They're
all of Reddit is at stake, guys.
And because of this,
the end of Reddit.
They provided that software. They're going to be on the line for potentially a massive amount. And once again, getting that liability and discovery could destroy Reddit as a company. But what do you guys think about this? Do you guys think Reddit is going to go down? Would you like to see Reddit go down?
No, it wouldn't. Even in the worst case outcome for this court case, it would not destroy Reddit.
I want to know what you think in the comments.
It's so dumb.
I will catch you on the next one.
It's so fucking dumb, dude. So I believe we should have a Pisco VOD going over some of this. Whoops. So he watches an Asmongold video. I think he watches the Asmongold reaction to Legal Mindset. So we are going to get the absolute... Okay. Why is he making noises, man? What's wrong with this guy? So we're going to get the absolute worst of the worst here. It does not get bleaker than this.
On this, our internet. Okay? So, to bring you back to the lawsuit, some months ago, Ethan Klein, popular host and entrepreneur associated with H3
Okay, let's just speed him up while he does the intro.
Released a content nuke on Hassan Piker.
In case he says anything relevant, I don't want to skip it. I don't want to be lost later on.
Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Let's see if you guys agreed. Right.
Dude, why is he doing impression? What is wrong with this guy? Maybe I will skip this bit, actually.
Oh.
No, what? That's when she becomes sexy. My bad. Okay, got it. All right. Sorry, that's Grunty or Gruntilda.
Is he good?
I don't know. Okay, folks. Connor viewer, checking out this evil Pisco guy. All right, we're here for one purpose and one purpose only. The purpose of this video is to go over a recent set of legal videos, LawTube videos, about the Ethan Klein lawsuit. All right, and it's meant more to demonstrate stuff about the LawTube community here on YouTube and the fact that it's in shambles, at least the popular LawTubers, than it is meant to elucidate information about the lawsuit itself. And you'll see why, but it's worth repeating once again what the lawsuit is about that I'm analyzing. And you might be wondering also why Asmongold is appearing on the bottom left there. All of this will be explained in time, dear viewer. But just know that what this is a commentary on the state of LawTube and popular legal commentators on this our internet. Okay? So to bring you back to the lawsuit, some months ago, Ethan Klein, popular host and entrepreneur associated with H3 Productions, released a content nuke on Hassan Piker. This was a so-called video basically detailing a bunch of negative stuff and history of controversial comments, positions, etc. by Hassan Piker. And he did so with the intention to try to bait some other individuals, this is his story by the way, into reacting to that video, the content nuke, and doing so in a fashion that was copyright infringement, that furthermore was unprotected by the doctrine.
Yeah,
of fair
I
use.
can't stomach that PF
That
Jung
is how
debate.
Ethan-
People kept recommending me that Pisco PF Jung debate. I can't stand that guy. I cannot fucking stand that guy. His videos fucking suck, man. Holy shit. Occupies the same space in my mind as that fucking loser that does the shit fucking rap battles. Do you know what I know? You know what I mean, don't you? It's like J-Reg if J-Reg had even worse AIDS. If like J-Reg was like the absolute worst person to ever walk the fucking earth, that's these people. Unfortunately, J-Reg is only in like bottom 50%. Like truly, I hope every day of your life is fucking miserable for this fucking video.
I would have started Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson. So you can school a couple of fascists, but can you defeat a socialist?
It's been a long time, Steven. Thought you got the best of me, but this ends here. Prepare to meet your destiny. Review your power level to where you won't pull through. You're welcome to the Nuremberg trials for part 2. Been around for a minute, deep in the grift. Goddamn, now you're in it. I may not be a redneck militia clown, but I'm still gonna motherfucking mow you down. Just like you laughed as my dog died. No surprise, you do support genocide. Zion and shield dancing on Gazan graves. Like Gusano from a family who owns slaves. You smell worse than a fart. Shane Kamala Harris had to drive us apart. You fell behind me, Steven. What happened, dog? And more than double your sub count. Let's finish the job. Go away, numb the pain of run.
Yeah, so this guy's the same as PF Jung to me.
Welcome
Like, this
to
is-
League
this is
of
what PF
Politics
Jung does.
Champion Spotlight, featuring Destiny, the master debater.
Oh, Destiny? That's the guy at home that plays the trains all day, you know, going choo-choo konnichiwa.
If any champion is said to be the face of the League of Politics, it's Destiny. He's an extremely popular pick in the current meta and sees play from Iron and Bronze all
Yeah,
the way
this
up
is
to
the sort of
competitive
unfunny shit only a retarded, like, what? I don't even know how to put it into words. Like, you are the most despicable, low-life,
We're in the-
fucking millennial retard scum shill on Earth. You are a fucking empty husk millennial scumfuck shill, and you should be proverbially, metaphorically, beaten into the fucking dirt. Truly. Truly.
scene in Challenger. Destiny is a very powerful AD carry, with a number of high damage abilities that make use of his top tier rhetoric and loyal cult following. Let's have a stroke and see what the master debate
I learned that Tier 2 guy's channel's doing poorly. God bless. God fucking bless, man.
can do on the Rift.
God fucking bless.
Destiny's origin story is a tale as old as time. Like other hobbits with humble beginnings, Destiny began his journey cleaning carpets, eventually working his way into management at one of the many shady casinos in Bilgewater. A true boy genius, Destiny resented how his corporate overlords held him back, and he yearned for something greater. One day, while under the influence of mystical fungi, he was bit by a demonic creature called a Zergling, and it imbued him with knowledge of the powerful school of magic called StarCraft.
Yes, this is
Using
League
his newfound
fanfic
talent,
for Destiny, yes.
Destiny skyrocketed himself to fame and riches.
Funny
until he
thing
had
is,
acquired
J-Stalk
enough-
is literally this genre of human. That is true. That is all... I mean, not quite. J-Stalk's slightly too right-wing to be this exact genre of guy, but I get sort of what you mean. They're the same breed. I get exactly what you mean. I do get what you mean. I was saying last night, J-Stalk, like, dude, J-Stalk is actually cattle. The sooner we come to terms with this fact, the better, I think. J-Stalk is actually cattle. This guy is watching that, what's her name? Neve Adkins, the South African Taylor Swift fan that we watched the other night. And she, like, has a reaction to a line in one of her songs. And J-Stalk's like, oh, come on, you've heard this already. You listened to this before. No one's ready to react to music that quickly when they first hear it. And I just watched him, like, sit there in silence through all this music. And I realized he's, like, not listening. He's, like, not really engaging with the music. He spent, like, ages saying, oh, yeah, this Taylor Swift stuff's not even that bad. He's, like, not listening or engaging with the music at all. He's not actually taking it in any way. He watches her have a reaction, and he's like, oh, there's no way you actually analyzed it like that.
This was you 4 years ago. I've seen your posts in the DGG Discord.
Thank you for the $5. Yeah, it's fine to be like this when you're, like, 12, okay? And that's the age I was in those posts, and that's what I'm sticking to. So he's not actually listening to the music that's playing when he's analyzing it. He's just literally letting it play. He's letting it play. And he just nods along, like fucking lyrics.
Power to start his own cult, known as the Daliban, or DGG, which stands for... something. Destiny's passive is Cult of Destiny. As the master debater, Destiny is a hero to every undiagnosed autist who derives enjoyment from intellectual combat.
I don't know why we're
These
still
nerds and
watching
virgins
this,
spend-
but it's fucking unbearable. P.F. Jones should be put in fucking prison. This guy should actually be in fucking prison.
Klein presented the story. He released a video in conjunction where he states out these purposes in the lawsuit, which include going after a set of creators who he viewed as highly negative towards him and engaged in some kind of bad faith harassment campaign against him, or either contributing to that atmosphere or being directly involved to some capacity. He also included what I thought, this is now me injecting my commentary into it, a bunch of implausible motivations for why he was suing. One of which included the notion that suing the specific content creators at issue, which included content creator Denims, Casey Tron, and Frogan.
Will is that gay? Will is that gay? I guarantee when this video came out, Will sat there watching it, fucking seal clapping with his mouth agape.
As well as additional parties here of like some unnamed Reddit mods or some where the names were to be discovered later on, which is okay. It's allowed to do that. He basically suggested these lawsuits against these three creators plus the Reddit mods.
Well, I used mouth agape at the same time as fucking Freddy. Right, so I get sick of imagining Jay still watching ReZero's mouth agape as Subaru dies once again. Dude. Jay Stook being a ReZero fan is disgusting. That is disgusting. That is true. And that is real.
Protect the React community.
Also, no game, no life. Like, this guy is a straight pedophile. This guy's a straight pedophile.
And I've made several videos, had several debates about why that is an implausible motive, that it doesn't make sense as a motive, that he would be launching these lawsuits with the expectation that it would protect the React community against lawsuits from Disney and from Sony, which this is a specific reference that he puts in his video. And a theme throughout the video is that this is done basically to enforce a standard on the React community. Incidentally, he did not sue other creators who pretty blatantly violated Ethan Klein's copyright by doing reactions that have basically no additional transformative nature to them, that are using the work in their entirety and fail on all of the factors of the fair use analysis test. The argument about why these creators were different had to do with, well, they stated a malicious intent. And in my previous videos, I've discussed why this is not a convincing argument, in that the factor of transformative content or purpose and character of the work does not turn on subjective intent, that the Supreme Court has pushed against that interpretation of the fair use factors, that it turns on subjective intent, that the preferred doctrine is not this kind of good faith, bad faith assessment, and that the other factors are also, for example, market substitute factor relates to the actual market substitute and not to the intent to be a market substitute. But that at least was what H3 was trying to sell to his audience. And that's where I got involved initially, is by commenting and saying, hey, I think these are pretty strong cases of infringement. But ultimately, I don't buy the narrative that this is done to protect the React community for the reasons stated. And I think the legal filings by H3's lawyers...
I will say, I do respect Redo Over Healer fans far more than I respect ReZero fans. If you out there talking up Redo Over Healer, that takes a little bit of courage, you know. That takes a little bit of... You're saying something. You're standing on something. I might not like it, but you're standing on something at least. ReZero is just like slop. Like, what are you riding for?
And their head entertainment in the lawsuit, that's the party name, that the filings by these attorneys were unhinged. That was my take, and it received a great deal of pushback, even though what I said was, I think, quite clearly true. But the reason I bring this up is because it seemed like the lawyers who were commenting on this case, to a man, were pretty, I think, uncalibrated in terms of their legal analysis. Had more to do with...
Yeah, I've never played... I'm gonna be right. I've never played Rance. I've never watched Redo Over Healer, so I can't compare the two. But I've always heard Rance is good. So...
And generalities that they're taking from other doctrines of law that don't apply. One person in particular that I think had horrible analysis was this guy, Legal Mindset, who many people were pushing around as this is someone who we should look to for a lot of insights into what's going on in the Ethan Klein case. When we actually take a look at what he was talking about in his videos analyzing this case, he's citing no precedent. As he was running through the answer that Denhams gave, this is a filing in response to the initial complaint, he was unhinged in terms of his assessment of the affirmative defenses, in that he was just basically riffing without doing any individualized research on, again, case law, bringing up the kinds of cases that have been successful in the past. You know, the bare minimum that you would expect someone to do when providing legal analysis to their viewers is to, like, hey, this is what will be successful because of this. I've done the research on this area, for example, on the doctrine of implied consent or the doctrine of forfeiture and abandonment. It didn't seem that he was quite so familiar with those doctrines. So the legal analysis, I think, has been substandard. But that hasn't stopped everyone from basically following Legal Mindset's brain-dead videos, which are totally infected by, as my viewer says right here, Faith Adams, political bias, etc., where he's letting his feelings about Hassan Piker, you know, get involved in his outcome here and what he's determining. As an added example of this bias, he said that Hassan Piker probably violated criminal laws by stating things about Rick Scott, where he was making this point about if you wanted to kill people who were affecting Medicaid or something, you would go after Rick Scott, which is clearly protected speech, which isn't covered by any of these doctrines, as well as other instances potentially of alleged violent rhetoric, which are clearly encompassed and protected by free speech. He wasn't citing any precedent to show that what Hassan Piker's statements were criminal in nature or that they were covered by some exception to the First Amendment. It was shabby analysis all the way down. That said, I'm someone who's fair and balanced, and so whenever there's a new development, I'm going to take a look at the law tubers, what they're saying about this new development, and give it an honest go and see what I think about it. But recently there was this development for the case against the Reddit mods. The Reddit mods were named parties in this lawsuit, the series of lawsuits. And there's essentially some dispute as to, like, what the...
Got an Uber ad on this stream, and the song was Mama Said There'll Be Days Like This. Felt like a sucker punch. I had to bite down on my thumb and make sure I wasn't having a fever dream.
Employer of these mods are. There's an allegation that one of them is employed by Reddit. And the way the legal community, or I should say some specific LawTube commentators have responded, is by giving some of the most insane, unhinged, delusional takes on this and other aspects of the case, acting as though this is some insane bombshell that is going to threaten the very existence of Reddit. I'm not joking. So I've already seen the Legal Mindset video, Lawful Mindset, Legal Mindset, whatever. And so I figured, might as well, so I can get some enjoyment out of this, watch the reaction that Asmongold is giving to Legal Mindset video, so I can have some fun, some new content. But in watching this reaction of Asmongold, we'll get through the entirety of the Legal Mindset video with me offering commentary in between to show really how unhinged this guy is and how insane
if you see
his assessments
I might
really
even get
are.
that.
And I will start by saying that Asmongold titled his reaction video, Reddit Broke the Law. That is what Asmongold titled his video. He's accusing Reddit of breaking the law. So note if you see in this video any evidence of that, of Reddit having broken the law, for him to say definitively, Reddit broke the law. And initially, you'll see here, Legal Mindset's video was called Reddit is Legally Cooked. Legally cooked. I called him out on this on Twitter, and this is me breaking this news, apparently. I think this is true. I think this is him. Yeah, it looks like this is, he changed the name.
Huh?
of his video from. Oh no,
Reddit is absolutely legally cooked.
Okay,
Oh.
never mind. So he didn't change the name.
Almost.
Of the video. All right, we're gonna edit that out. He has maintained the name of the video is Reddit is legally cooked, but he also had a video called Denims and Reddit are in trouble. So this is the updated video. He didn't change the name. That was fake news. But that's even worse because he should change the name. Reddit is legally cooked. So understand how people are interpreting this. Laid persons like Asmongold, legally cooked means they're done. Reddit is done. They're totally guilty of something. They totally broke the law about something. So that is the title of the video. And you can say, oh, it's clickbait. Oh, it's clickbait. I mean, you're accusing them of breaking the law, and that's how people are understanding it. And so let's actually see Asmongold's reaction and what Asmongold is interpreting, and also in the process, watching what Legal Mindset has to say about the recent disclosures, again, about the Reddit mods who are also parties to lawsuits. And before, again, I want to stress, so important, that this is a copyright infringement case. This is a simple copyright infringement case. There's an additional theory of liability of the Reddit mods that's maybe a little bit more complicated in the sense that they're like actively encouraging copyright infringement. But this is an infringement case. I want you to know that. It's an infringement case. And we'll watch. I have not seen Asmongold's reaction. I'm sure this will be entertaining for me. I have seen the Legal Mindset video. Let's go.
One of the snark mods for the Ethan Klein lawsuit said that they worked at Reddit. Oh, man.
Oh,
That's
man.
a bad one, huh?
Reddit is absolutely legally cooked. We're going to get into a bombshell leak that will change everything today on the Legal Mindset.
Yeah, if this
We
is
teach you
true-
to be your own judge.
I'm going to be shocked.
I can't tell if this is like he's hamming it up. Maybe he is.
All right, so we've been going through the case of Ethan Klein versus the orbiters of Hassan, including
Yes.
the Reddit mods. And in that, we've been looking at what's going on with them and also their legal liability.
Of
And we
course.
now have a
Of course. This is how he reacts to videos.
leak, something that was brought to my attention and something that, as far as I know,
Oh, is this Piscos' first time watching Asmongold? It's the first time watching Asmongold. Doesn't realize that 90% of the commentary is just, yup, yup, there it is, dude, there it is, yup.
nobody else may know about this, although Ethan Klein will soon be very, very, very
I bet he
aware
will.
of this. And I'm sure his lawyers are going to be very, very interested in this because it blows wide open this case. Once
So it blows wide open this case. This case, remember, is a simple...
Quadruple reacception? Yeah, but we're only interested in Piscos' commentary, really. We just want Piscos' legal and everything else analysis to
copyright infringement case.
figure
A
this out.
copyright infringement case. That is the theory of liability here. So he's saying this blows open the case. All right? So just keep that in mind.
Again, Ethan Klein suing for copyright infringement, and he has massive power behind that lawsuit because the damages are in the hundreds of thousands of dollars,
a lot of
potentially
money.
millions.
Potentially millions of dollars? So that's the first insane take that one could give. That who in their right mind thinks that the infringement that is allegedly committed by Denims et al., Denims, Frogren, and the third person, Casey Tron, is worth millions of dollars. Are you insane? How possibly could you factor in damages of that amount? Even if they like contributed, let's say the loss of viewership of 5 million, right? Let's say 5 million less people watched the content nuke. If we're talking about actual damage, like, and if we're talking about statutory damages, it doesn't reach that amount either. So where are you getting this millions of dollars that they are on the that is an insane number. That is a bizarre, unhinged number based on literally nothing. That his
See, Papa Gut's reaction to the H3 Armand video. No, I heard about it, though. Apparently his comments were really mad at him for finding it funny.
random video is worth millions of dollars. That infringement like cost him, actually damaged him $1 million, or that it would reach the statutory cap at less than $1 million, and at most, right, like the statutory damages pertain to at most 2 infringements. There's one infringement of the content nuke, and then there's one related to a reaction video. Thank you so much for the raid, Hutch. Much appreciated, Hutch. So there's just like, there's no way, there's no plausible argument that Ethan Klein, I know that he might say it in his filings that he suffered billions of dollars of damage. That is so bizarre that you would accept that number or promote that number. Denim's probably, what was our concurrent viewership there? Millions? Millions of dollars? Absolutely wild, absolutely insane that you would say this. This is not a case that's worth that much money. And again, even if you were to take the maximum of statutory damages, I mean, and again, so let's do statutory damages, copyright. This is 17 USC section 504. The max when you show willful infringement is $150,000. And as far as I'm aware, the infringement, there's only 1 count of infringement. At most, I think 2. There's like 1 stream from Denims, 1 stream from Frogan, 1 stream from Caseytron, and then additionally, I think the reaction to the reaction stream from Denims. Maybe the others did it as well. So even if you were to take the max for willful infringement for each one of those, you're below $1 million, and there's no actual plausible way that you're getting to millions of dollars of damage of liability. That is so bizarre. That is so wrong. Not true.
right? If you look at scope of damages from all of these creators, leeching revenue, leeching potential sponsorships.
He says, potential sponsorships? Leeching potential sponsorships by doing this reaction video? Millions of dollars? Absolutely unhinged, insane.
Etc. Taking his content wholesale, he's got massive liability. There's even potential punitive damages based on the intent.
Punitive damages? No, so it's a willful infringement potentially that you can get additional damages there. I'm not sure if he's suggesting that the conduct here is so egregious that you would give like double, treble damages here. That is bizarre to me. There's no, and I will stake my credibility on this. If he ever recovers a judgment valued at over $800,000 with respect to every single one of these creators, I'll shave my head and eyebrows. I'll shave everything. Okay. He's not going to recover that much.
Let's go.
No way, no how, or a settlement. No way, no how.
Right, based on the fact that these people had malicious intent to steal his content.
And again, the malicious intent, we've talked about this before, but he is not at all providing citations for why this is relevant to infringement, why this is relevant to findings for fair use, not actually pointing to that.
Yeah, dude, it's just so crazy. Like, the bar for legal analysis is so fucking low. Like, do you not... my immediate thing, whenever I watch a video about fucking law, is like, if they say something, I want them to pull up, like, the relevant line. Like, you know, some judgment that's used for precedent, or whatever line it is in the law that applies, and, like, define the terms and show where they're defined. That's what I want to see when I go to watch, like, a law video, you know? True crime's one thing where it's just like, oh, this person murdered them, and you need probable cause. Like, you can be a bit more lax with that. But when it comes to, like, a lawsuit, when I'm looking for legal analysis, the idea that you're doing it without citations, without case law, without anything coming up, is like, that should immediately set off insane red flags and be, like, essentially worthless to pretty much any onlooker. But for some reason, people just want... Well, it's not for some reason. It's very... It's not even remotely a mystery. People want to confirm the biases, obviously, but legal mindset just gets away with an obscene lack of research and lack of understanding. Like, it's not even like it's winging it and it's good. Like, it's 90% on the mark. No, it's like always off the mark completely.
I think that it's not super relevant at all. Certainly not to the fair use analysis. That subjective mindset is relevant there. As to damages, I can imagine a court, takes into account a lot of things when it comes to damages. But again, even if you show willfulness, which is different from maliciousness and malice in the context of statutory damages, we're talking about a max here of $150,000 per infringement. So we're not getting into the millions. That's insane.
Has to live stream the trial. He has to, bro. Like, please.
So
he shouldn't like take it to trial, and the reason is if what he cares about is making money, his litigation expenses are going to be more than the value of what he's going to get here. He's going to incur more in litigation expenses. I have no, maybe there is a potential for fee shifting. That's possible. You can get some fee shifted provisions, so maybe you get your attorney's fees paid, but I really don't think it makes much sense for you to take this to trial if what you care about is making money.
That we had Reddit mods that were in this case, right? Because we obviously know Casey Tron, Denims, Frogan, all of these casting characters are live.
Jesus. He sees the picture of these people and he's like, Jesus.
But the Reddit mods are a big part of this. This is, by the way, totally not AI and totally an accurate photo.
Yeah.
Of a Reddit moderator. I think it's very much real to life. But the Reddit moderator...
I love how he says, yeah, when... I'm not going to say it, but look at the surroundings here.
Moderators were hoping to hide. They were hoping to cower
Completely real, guys.
behind their internet anonymity, right? They have power in the fact that they are anonymous and that nobody knows them and they can reach out and
People that think that they're anonymous on the internet are so stupid. If you have a digital footprint and you're making accounts everywhere, if you think that they can't find you, you're a moron.
Things and do whatever, but now they're being exposed. Now they're being called out and they are terrified. They're absolutely scared that they're going to be exposed in this, and they filed a motion of 700 pages trying to hide from responsibility. Well, that's not going to happen. Their identity is going to come out. And one thing that's been coming out is who these people are exactly. And the big news is that beyond all comprehension, we now have proof that...
Beyond all comprehension? I don't even know what that means. Beyond all comprehension? So this proof, I take that to mean, is really, really good. It's beyond all comprehension. I can't comprehend it, how much it's proved. Of course you don't know what it means. You can't comprehend it. It's divine. All right, so this is beyond all comprehension. So the proof of this must be really, 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 really good for whatever this is, and it must have massive significance, okay?
Reddit, all comprehensively. And the big news is that beyond all comprehension, we now have proof that Reddit is directly tied to these moderators, which are going to be sued. So let's go into...
So what does that even mean? They're directly tied to the moderators? Well, I imagine they're moderators on Reddit. So in some sense, I suppose they're tied. But what do you...
Dude, Apparently Hassan's like coping about this shock collar, but the comments on the Reddit thread are like so cringe. They're all like, oh my god, even if it wasn't a shock collar, I can't believe he didn't immediately rush over and go and check on her. Dude, if it wasn't a shock collar, then who cares? Literally, who cares? That clip does not matter if it wasn't a shock collar. Sorry, you don't go and, like, rush over to your fucking pet every time they make a fucking noise. Context? No, not context. Too bad. You have to go back in the stream if you want context. We'll figure it out.
Mean by that, and he'll get into it a little bit, but I just want to, they're tied to, I mean, they're mods on the website Reddit, but what he's trying to prove here is that one of the snark mods is a Reddit employee.
Here, this is one of the times where all of the conspiracy Andes are vindicated. Everybody that said Reddit's out to
haven't seen anything. He hasn't seen anything yet. And he's like, they're all completely vindicated.
Get him, and it's actually Reddit doing this to him, and it's not organic. The conspiracy Andes win again.
To this.
Wow.
So these are screenshots that were forwarded to me. Now you have one of these individuals here, one of these mods, nicknamed Roman P, who's listed in the lawsuit, right? So we're gonna look at these text messages or these screenshots, which were sent over to me before they were deleted, right? Because once again, they were going back and deleting and sweeping these things up. But now we've got conclusive proof here that kind of nails them in here. So them saying, so he thinks he could sue Asmon and XQC, but he doesn't want to sue them. Why? Surely the reaction video stole more views from him. Is this kind of admission he doesn't care about any potential financial damage, only about his personal beef? And then
what I find to be so funny about this,
but that is true. That is 100% true. The fact that we have XQC and Asmongold who have deeper pockets and arguably much more infringing reactions, that is to say, better cases against them, and I would stand by that with respect to the Denims comparison, and he hasn't gone after them means it's not about financial compensation, and that's why he has to give this like bizarre and ultimately what I think is a lie, that he is doing this to protect the React community from Sony and Disney, because he should just come out and say, I'm doing this because of malice, and you can imply that by what he says, but he also adds this whole thing about it's the React community. He starts his video that way too. So just don't let anyone gaslight you. That the reason why H3 is doing this has nothing to do with protecting the React community.
This is that, number one, the entire lawsuit hinged on the fact that these three individuals openly stated that they were doing it in order to make it a market replacement for the product.
That has nothing to do with the legal analysis of fair use. And there's no indication whatsoever that any ruling on fair use that would come down from a court in California would turn on the subjective motivations of an individual. There's not any case law that you can cite that subjective intent is important to this market substitution analysis. And there's no evidence that it's important to factor one either, because the Supreme Court, as recent as I think last year in the Warhol case, said that subjective intent does not matter for factor number one. The nature of the copyrighted work doesn't get into subjective intent at all. It's whether it's like creative or factual, and the amount and substantiality, again, is another objective analysis. So there's no indication that one's case turns on whether or not you have subjectively bad motive or not. And it's not predictive in the slightest, even before the Warhol case. And the Warhol case has, I think, put to bed the notion that subjective intent matters. It's an Andy Warhol case. It's about whether a particular infringing work constitutes fair use because of what was intended as the design. And what Sotomayor says in the majority there is, it doesn't matter what your subjective intent is.
He had put into the space. He had already, like, this is, and
in sum, subjective intent is not important here. The infringement itself is strict liability, which means it doesn't matter whether you have intent or not with respect to infringement itself. So the underlying legal wrong infringement is strict liability. And for the fair use analysis, factor one is not subjective. It's an objective test, not subjective. It's not mind dependent. That's what I mean by subjective here. Factor two is not subjective. It's also about the nature of the work, right? So first is purpose and character of the use. So that is objective analysis. That's what we find out from Warhol. Factor two, nature of the copyrighted work. That is objective, not subjective. It turns on whether the work is like factual, released yet, whether it's creative, etc. It's not a favored factor anyway, but to the extent that it is an objective analysis. Factor three is the amount and substantiality of the work that's used. Again, objective analysis, not about how much you intended to use. It's about how much.
Okay, he's laying out all the copyright shit again. I'm going to skip some of this. I want to get to the real key parts here.
Activism?
A cast of characters, including a very well-known Hassan Orbiter and Stan here, who's saying, we're going to build a shield wall for you. Roman P. thanking this unquestionable individual, who is definitely a separate person and not me on just another one of my sock puppet accounts. Well, if that was actually the case, and you were this individual, that would be even...
This guy thinks that they can't immediately figure this out in like 3 seconds by subpoenaing his ISP. It's like, these people are so stupid.
This is called a joke. So, you guys, did you see this? Thank you, Batty Banana, who definitely is a separate person and not just me on another one of my... So... Asmongold is like, these guys think, actually, that we won't be able to figure out definitively who these people are. It's called a joke, dude. he's being super serious here, and I think that part of this confusion you'll see is potentially
man.
just inability to comprehend jokes.
They don't even know how stupid they are. They don't even understand it.
Worse for Reddit because it has some negligent hirings, all sorts of other stuff.
Negligent hiring. Negligent hiring. Negligent hiring. Well, what theory of liability are we working on here, Mr. Legal Mindset? So when he says negligent hiring, what the hell is he talking about? He must be talking about a different case, because we're, of course, talking about copyright infringement. And infringement is a strict liability offense. Negligent hiring sounds more like a tort theory of liability. So I have no idea why he would bring up negligent hiring, unless you have some case law that the doctrine of negligent hiring as a theory of liability is applicable to copyright infringement.
Well, I know Legal Mindset, so surely he's about to pull up some relevant case law to cite and demonstrate his point to the audience.
And even in this other theory of infringement as to the Reddit mods, where they're like intentionally trying to further the copyright infringement to basically have assistance liability of some kind, that obviously requires it being your conscious object to further that end. It's how do you assist something negligently in that sense? I have no doubt whatsoever that for any theory of like joint liability here, or liability of the Reddit mods who are not actually infringing content but just directing to it, that you would need to show some kind of knowing or intentional conduct. So this negligent hiring thing, he just puts it out there because that's a concept in law, but it has nothing to do, as far as I understand, with copyright. And again, I just think that he's applying doctrines where they don't matter. I've never heard of a negligent hiring case related to copyright infringement. Maybe it exists somewhere, but please provide the case law. I mean, this is Legal Mindset's job. What's the case law? What does it actually say about negligent hiring and copyright infringement? You would think that a legal analyst would say like, well, this is the case in which employers can be held liable for the copyright infringement of their employees.
You would think so.
When they're off the job?
Going on if that was the case. But once again, associating with some questionable characters and then going even further, showing the lawsuit, showing exactly where they are named. So highlighting that user, /Roman P, which is there amongst others like
the Reddit
right Salamander and H3 Snark mod team. So they're clearly named in the lawsuit, right? Clearly named in the lawsuit. But here is the real bombshell, folks. Here is the thing that blows this case wide open and can lead to the absolute destruction of Reddit. This could be...
So I'm not making this up. This could lead to the destruction of Reddit. The absolute destruction of Reddit.
Blows this case wide open and can lead to the absolute destruction of Reddit. This could be enough to tear Reddit down. The whole...
I don't know if it's going to get... obviously, I think this may be a little bit hyperbolic, but...
When Asmongold is having to rein you in, bro. Let's watch that again. Look at this.
Salamander and H3 Snark mod team. So they're clearly named in the lawsuit, right? Clearly named in the lawsuit. But here is the real bombshell, folks. Here is the thing that blows this case wide open and can lead to the absolute destruction of Reddit. This could be enough to tear Reddit
What
down.
does that even mean, right? Like, so assume his theory of liability here, that Reddit is on the hook because of negligent hiring, even assuming he is hired. We'll get into that. He himself said the damages could get up to like, some millions of dollars. Is that going to tear Reddit down? A few $1 million on a simple copyright infringement case? Even assuming you could get to millions of dollars of damages, but like, even just buy the absurd proposition.
Yeah, take the most extreme version of this lawsuit possible. What the fuck does it change for Reddit? Nothing. Nothing.
That Ethan was damaged millions of dollars, or that you'd somehow be able to get statutory damage in that amount for like linking on Reddit the live streams of Denim's, Frogan, and Caseytron regarding the content nuke. It's just not that valuable. But even assume that you are so deluded that you believe Legal Mindset that the liability here is millions of dollars, like a few $1 million. That's going to tear Reddit down. Only an insane person, only a total insane person would have that take.
In the lawsuit, right? Clearly named in the lawsuit. But here is the real bombshell, folks. Here is the thing that blows this case wide open and can lead to the absolute destruction of Reddit. This could be enough to tear Reddit down. The whole...
I don't know if it's going to get... obviously, I think this may be a little bit hyperbolic, but I mean, please...
just a little.
I'm sorry, I've had my hopes destroyed too many times. I don't know if I can believe another dream.
So you want Reddit to be destroyed over some copyright infringement shit? Can you imagine, by the way, how much these crybabies would go in front of a camera and just... They're censoring me. This copyright infringement. We're not going to stand. If they were the targets of this kind of like, copyright infringement lawsuit shit,
oh
if all of a sudden all of the content creators that Asmongold and XQC have been stealing from for years filed lawsuits against them, they're trying to silence me, bros. Like, but you want Reddit to be destroyed because what? Because you don't agree with them politically? I thought you guys were free speech bros.
Dude, someone should actually get Asmongold on the Library of Congress thing. That'd be awesome.
He has no reason not to at this point.
Okay,
let's flip over here.
Dude, how awesome would it be if someone just made like a video about the Ethan shit that every Ethan supporter is gonna react to on stream, and they register it with the Library of Congress, and they sue every fucking Ethan supporter for the exact same thing. Dude, that would go crazy. That would go We need someone rich as fuck who can afford to register with the Library of Congress and launch a bunch of lawsuits. Come up with a video that's like, it has to be, here's the concept, okay? Here's the concept. It's a pro-Ethan video. It appears as a pro-Ethan video, but it's structured in such a way as to entice any Ethan supporting reactor to agree with a bunch of positions while watching it that would excuse their own suing, if you know what I mean. You get them to agree, basically, to, it's like Trojan horses, like them agreeing to all the talking points necessary to justify themselves getting sued, and then you sue them. That would go crazy. Take all of Mr. Lib's pinball machines. So, dude. Don't.
Flip over here.
The head
You
Reddit
have
mod.
an admission. A 100% confession.
A 100% confession. So maybe this Roman P guy is a Reddit employee. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's not. This feels like a joke to me. But to say it's a 100% confirmed confession beyond the bounds of comprehension. That he says, not concerned balancing working at Reddit and being the head moderator for H3 Shark has been kind of stressful, though. Maybe he's being honest. Maybe he's being honest. Maybe this is a confession that he works at Reddit. So what? So what? How does him working at Reddit relate to the copyright infringement case? What fact of consequence is turned by the fact that they're working at Reddit, if they are working at Reddit? There's nothing, right? Like, what? This is not a case about harassment. This is not a case about doxing. This is a copyright infringement case. Reddit is not a party to the lawsuit. If Ethan Klein wants to amend his lawsuit to include Reddit, I mean, I guess he's more than welcome. Denims would probably be delighted to have that happen. My guess is he won't do that. Maybe I'm wrong, but my guess is he won't amend the complaint to include Reddit as a defendant. And so, even when you're just thinking about them swaying like, oh my god, he's an employee of Reddit, like, you just stop for 2 seconds as a lawyer. We're like, so? Even if it were true? Even if this is not a joke? Reddit is not a party.
It's like a 125 fee. Yeah, but you need more than just the fee, because you need lawyer money. You need money for lawyers to press people. You know?
What you're alleging is copyright infringement. So why would it be acceptable to, like, broaden this into, is Reddit discriminating against Ethan Klein at all? We're going to get into all the communications of Reddit employees. That's not proportional or relevant to the scope of the lawsuit, which is a simple infringement case. So anytime a Reddit employee is involved in any kind of dispute, you're able to go and get, like, Reddit records? It's insanity. It's insanity.
Right here. They're saying, concern level for you. This whole thing is so odd. Roman P, once again, the head moderator, saying not concerned at all. Balancing working at Reddit and being the head moderator for H3 Snark has kind of been stressful, though.
So this guy who's already joking about alts, he's like, 100%, and then look at Asmongold's face. And so now, in your head, Asmongold said Reddit broke the law. Legal Mindset said Reddit is legally cooked. What are they alleging Reddit did? He's in a second going to go through, like, vicarious liability. But what is the legal wrong here? That Reddit as an organization, I mean, working at Reddit could mean sweeping at the Reddit headquarters. It could mean working for some other, I don't know, marketing for Reddit. It could mean any number of things. There's no reason to think the doctrine of vicarious liability would extend to Reddit, the organization, be just based on mere employment. And even if it did, what are we talking about here more broadly? Infringement. That's what the case is about. The cause of action is infringement. And I want to stress again, Reddit is not a party to the lawsuit. Ethan has not sued Reddit. So to the extent that there is vicarious liability, that would maybe matter if Reddit were a defendant, which of course they're not. And to Josh's point, it could also be a fucking joke. So on every level, it's cringe. On the level of the damages are millions of dollars, it's cringe. On the level of assuming the damages are that much, it would destroy and collapse Reddit, it's cringe. On the level of, well, the doctrine of vicarious liability and negligent hiring is cringe. Why? Because Reddit's not a defendant. On the level of proposing to amend the complaint to include Reddit as a defendant, cringe. Because that would be a bad idea, in my honest opinion. And on the level of, maybe this is just a fucking joke because the guy's a memer and a troll and a member of a Snark subreddit. And maybe you just showed him joking about something before, which I guess maybe you guys took seriously. So maybe there's a little bit of too fast of an assumption that this is 100% serious confession by this guy. Such that it's 100% a confession beyond comprehension. So says Legal Mindset. Klein has filed a motion for judicial approval to issue subpoenas. Yeah. This is to find the defendants. It's not to. So this is a subpoena to a third party, in this case Reddit, to find out information about the defendants, not to find out information about Reddit. This is to name the moderators, not to go after Reddit. Reddit is not a party.
Yeah, I did see that.
And look at Asmongold's reaction, dude.
Why would you say that?
These guys are so dumb.
Why would you say this? Oh my God. It's shocking that somebody could be that stupid.
We have a confession right in front of everybody, in front of God and everybody, that the head moderator is a Reddit employee, is working at Reddit. This person, which has civil liability now and potential, and once again, once we dig, there
criminal liability.
Criminal stuff that comes out, who knows, right?
There might be criminal stuff that comes out.
They are on the hook for this. And they have put Reddit in a horrible position, particularly because we had these separate filing disclosure where we had Reddit admins offering us free subscriptions to privacy software to remove our PII from the internet in case we're doxxed and harassed.
So the Reddit admins were helping them to evade the law. Oh my God.
How? So I want to show you guys what this thing says. His face is covering it, but it says, to the point that Reddit admins offered us free subscriptions to privacy software that would blah, 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 in case we are doxxed and harassed by the outcome of this lawsuit. Guys, this is not saying that Reddit was trying to evade or violate the terms of some preservation order or notice. That's insanity. Just because they're saying, hey, here's some software to help you, undox yourself by the outcome of the lawsuit. So on the one hand, it's talking about the outcome of the lawsuit, like the effect of the lawsuit, not about evidence that's not about evidence that is essential to the lawsuit or that is discovery information or anything like that. And it's talking basically about removing it from third parties who have no self-standing obligation to preserve all records. And only an idiot would say, yeah, I'm going to interpret this as them trying to violate the preservation requirements of litigation. It doesn't say that. We're doing this, we're offering you private. I mean, this would be like, all right, if you're selling this software or something and someone is trying to do it for this purpose, are you helping them evade this? No, why should I be on the hook if you decide to use this software, whatever it is, to violate your discovery obligations or to violate your evidentiary obligations? So I'm going to sell this to you without any, I'm going to give this to you without any intent that you violate court orders. Why would we assume that they're doing so in a way to violate the preservation requirements of litigation? It's just a assumption that's stupid.
It's totally retarded.
And even in the sentence, it says the outcome of the litigation, of the lawsuits.
Maybe this actually is bad for Reddit. I mean, that's insane.
It says, in the case we are doxxed and harassed by the outcome of these lawsuits, right? An outcome is the thing at the end, right? The thing that happens at the end of something.
There's just like nothing here that should give you this reaction. There's nothing here that should be making you think, oh, Reddit are totally fucked. So it's just got, it has to be dishonesty, right?
And none of this is saying, well, we're not going to preserve our documents. This is to remove PII from the internet, not remove PII or remove or delete our documents that we're under a preservation order to maintain, right? Do you understand that? So in many different respects, this is a stupid conclusion to draw. First is the notion that Reddit would be on the hook for this at all for just offering like freely available software or whatever, or giving them, I don't know, discounts or free subscriptions to privacy software. Second, that this statement, which is directed at removing PII from the internet, that would include an intent to destroy documents in the possession of the mods themselves, which are under preservation notices, I'm assuming. And then finally, the fact that it says, in the case that we are doxxed and harassed by the outcome of these lawsuits, which I think is ambiguous enough to at least not be this, oh my God, sudden admission. But to interpret this as, yeah, Reddit is trying to make us evade our discovery obligations is so dumb.
So if there's evidence that they're trying to intentionally obfuscate, like,
he doesn't know shit.
Oh
Look at
my
him.
God. Can you believe that Reddit is actually, all the Reddit employees seem to be Redditors? Roman P has deleted all Reddit activity last few hours since I visited their profile. I'm going to pull it up after this.
This is called scrubbing evidence. They're
Yes,
deleting
This is called scrubbing evidence. So removing PII from the internet, that should be understood as necessarily violating your discovery obligations and your preservation. I think that is so stupid, so silly, not true.
Okay, don't drink. I'm going to delete that message.
evidence.
but it's
Spoliation
funny.
of evidence.
Oh,
This is
no.
potentially criminal.
Yes,
No,
and even
no,
doing so,
no,
and this is
no,
another
no,
thing
no, no.
too, doing so in anticipation of evidence being part of a discovery process of a case is the same thing. It actually.
I
in
am
some ways-
honestly, I feel like Nox does push the limits of like who I think should be allowed to be anonymous. I honestly, I saw that clip of him earlier. He's like outright calling for violence against people that put lockdowns in place and shit during the pandemic. I don't want to go into this whole thing right now. I'm not doing the next segment right now, but I'll play this clip.
really did worse than any country in the world. And the people at CDC who oversaw that process, who put masks on our children, who closed our schools, are the people who will be leaving.
Leaving? Fucking kill those motherfuckers! Leaving? Yeah, in a body bag! String them up Nuremberg style! They fucked a generation! Oh my god! Dude, I have people that work in... I have relatives that work in, like, as doctors. There were piles of bodies of people that got vaxxed, alright?
So he's saying people who worked at the CDC should be killed because the pandemic was fake, the lockdowns were manufactured, and the vaccine is killing people. Because, you know, he's like a foreign asset that exists only to subvert and deceive and manipulate and cause strife for the benefit of rich interests. So, yeah, honestly, I think this guy really does stretch the limits of internet anonymity for me. I think this might be crossing a line to where I think your face and name should be fucking everywhere. I'm not 100% on that. I'm not 100% on that at all. But this is getting close. This is getting very close. It's like, I think, like, if a Russian was doing this, if a Russian was posting content like this, targeted at the UK, how would I feel? Well, I would probably want that person named as a Russian, identified as a Russian, their face known, and how they're making their money known. That's how I would feel if a Russian was doing that. And this is some fucking, you know what, making a bunch of content targeted at Americans. A bunch of, you know, a fucking you know what. Subverting, deceiving. And it's honestly disgusting. It's pretty disgusting.
It's worse. So even if you do it before they issue the subpoena of, like, discovery, it doesn't matter. It's still considered bad.
And we want to know, is this the admin, Roman P., the employee of Reddit, that was offering the PII software? Are there others involved? These are all things that Ethan Klein can now dig into freely. His lawyers and Ethan Klein's infinite money glitch can go...
Why? Right? Think about this. Why? The only reason you're getting access to these materials from Reddit are to discover who these people are. But I want to stress again, this is a copyright infringement lawsuit. So discovering their identity will...
Yeah, Canadian guys. I mean, Canadian. You know, because they're always going to America and lying about politics. I mean, a Canadian. Guys, I'm talking about Canadians. Because they go to America and make right-wing content to subvert and deceive. Like Steven Crowder and Lauren Southern and Nux Taku and Not So Erudite. And I'm pretty sure there's others too. Lauren Chen. Ted Cruz isn't Canadian. What? Peterson. Gavin McInnes. Is Ted Cruz Canadian? Huh? He was born in Canada? Huh? What? Dude. That's crazy. That's crazy. Bro, I think he should be forced to get like a fucking leaf tattoo or something. I think they should put a leaf with a number on it, on these guys' fucking arms. Nux Taku, especially.
To further proceedings and presumably like valid service of process, etc. But to what extent does this bear on the copyright infringement case? No analysis is offered by why that would be encompassed and why it would matter to the ultimate disposition of this case. This case has to do with actions that were public, with streams that were public, with Reddit posts that were public, for which there's a record already. What's the need for large amounts of discovery here? It's an infringement case, folks. You're not alleging harassment as a cause of action. You're alleging infringement. So the scope of discovery is tailored to the claims, to the theories, to the cause of action, which isn't this wide sweeping conspiracy theory. It is despite the unhinged, voluminous pleadings, it is a fairly narrow copyright claim.
Go out there and dig into this.
Oh my god, bro. That's insane.
I think it's insane that anyone... This guy gets hundreds of thousands of views per video. Kill me.
Infinite money glitch? Yeah.
For what?
Ethan might just own Reddit.
Think about how delusional, unhinged, the destruction of Reddit. because Reddit offered free subscriptions to privacy software. What? When there's nothing implied in the statement that they were trying to evade the preservation requirements.
He didn't delete anything. He just put his profile on private. Really?
And figure this out. And in case you guys need to understand the legal concept here, because of course we're on the legal mindset.
Yeah, you would think that we'd have a lot of legal concepts on the legal mindset, and you talk about things that sound legal. But look, he now has a slide here that says vicarious liability. Employers are responsible for harmful actions of employees, even if not directly at fault. We have additional proof that Reddit admins provided software to the mods to destroy evidence. This opens up Reddit as a whole to both discovery and liability. For what? For what? They are not parties to any lawsuit. There are no allegations as to Reddit, the organization. Until there's an amended complaint, how would this open them up to infringement liability? What's the cause of action? His notion of the opening up of the flood of discovery here is just vibes. Oh, this guy seems to be a Reddit employee, so I can target Reddit with a bunch of discovery requests, even though they're not named parties in the lawsuit. And I can try to push them as potential havers of liability, even though they're not named in the lawsuit. The doctrine of vicarious liability wouldn't be relevant.
Oh, dude.
If they're not parties to the lawsuit.
Top DGG propagandist Clipper. Thinking Monk is retiring. A few words. I'm no longer participating in this farce. It doesn't make any difference at all. Posting stuff that nobody will see, shouting at bots or nihilistic morons, at best. I'm angry. I don't understand why you aren't angry too. In the last year, I've posted over 2,000 clips of people talking, mostly arguments and ideas I thought were worth sharing, and none have made any difference. Reaching people who don't agree with us is impossible on this platform, or any other for that matter. All of the outrage is fake. Nobody's really alarmed. It's all about engagement and making money. If you're not calling for the algorithms to be fixed, you're as fake as the bots and the replies. And here is my biggest claim. None of you think it's that bad. You're all just reacting to reality but not making any effort to shape it. If you think Gavin Newsom is saving us, you're part of the problem. He isn't stopping anything. He's only reacting like the rest of us. If you aren't ready to act and make a real difference, totally cool, but log off just so I'm doing now. Don't post empty thoughts and think the likes and retweets mean anything. All of it is fake by design. I'm all out of ideas, so I'm logging off. Joining the army of the ignorant. Bliss sounds pretty good to me. Peace and love. P.S. I'm not a bot. Or am I? Wow. This guy's lying, by the way. This guy's totally lying. Clipping makes a huge difference. Clipping is praxis. Clipping is fighting. Clipping is you know. Clipping makes the world go round, frankly. Always be clipping. And post like hell.
I think it's not likely that Ethan was going to name them as the defendant here. Ted versus Reddit.
That we are always both educational and entertaining, which is why, by the way, this is a fast facts video, the quick and dirty version of the latest legal news. Make sure you like the video and leave a comment below if you like this type of content and you like us exposing giant leaks like this.
That guy just posted on Reddit that he's moving to Argentina.
Leaks, a leak. I mean, we're redefining what words are. This is a leak, a public posting where he says, I work at Reddit. Possibly as a joke. That's a leak. A massive leak.
No.
It's a massive leak.
No, he didn't. No, I don't believe that. As if, and by the way, even if that...
to destroy evidence. To destroy evidence.
Happens. It doesn't even... No way. No way.
Let's get into this. Vicarious liability. What does that mean? And of course, I'm very, very familiar with this as a corporate attorney. I still am a practicing corporate attorney. Employers are responsible for the harmful actions of employees, even if not directly at fault. So this is one of the reasons why, in the recent times, people should be firing dangerous employees. Because
he's completely right about this. Yeah, and I didn't know about the OSHA stuff either. But yeah, of course this is the case. I mean, anybody, like, how many times have you guys heard on the radio while you're driving around? Have you ever been hit by a company vehicle? Call Bill at 4444444.
Yeah, in the scope of their employee duties. But I just very much doubt that the scope of his duties as being a Reddit employee involve posting about H3. In what sense are the scope of his duties as an employee of Reddit, like posting about H3, linking people to specific content? What are the odds that he's employed in the scope of duty where this would be relevant? I don't know. Has he cited a single case law of vicarious liability with respect to copyright infringement? Maybe. Maybe he has. I can imagine like a movie studio or something. If they're infringing on some other content, you can get the movie studio for infringing if they're working off the employees, right? But like that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a guy on his private snark account, like linking to some shit. In what sense, right? Is that Reddit? Even if you were to assume that Reddit were a party to this case, and again, I want to stress again, they're not a party to the case. So vicarious liability is totally irrelevant until he amends the complaint because he's not suing Reddit. But again, even if assuming this bizarre theory, in what sense would his activities on his private snark account relate to his employee duties at Reddit, who might not even be an actual employee because it's a joke, right?
That's all you have to remember. Fours. And Bill is going to get your money. Bill gets a lot of money, and he can get your money too. And you know how Bill gets the money? By suing the company and not the driver. So you know this shit's real.
You know this is real. You know this is real. You know this makes sense because there's a lot of ads for employers having liability. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that this case there's likely to be vicarious liability. And again, remember, in those hit and run cases,
it's I don't even want to engage with Asmongold's legal analysis because, like, yeah, of course, Asmongold's legal analysis is fucking terrible. The issue is, why is legal mindset being propped up? Why is legal mindset the guy that Asmongold's going to? Why do people not see that as, like, as bad as being an open pedophile? Like, why are you, as someone who goes to legal mindset for your legal advice and then repeats it to a massive audience, why are you seen as any better than like the common pedophile or shoplifter or any other like vagrant degenerate that we would usually shun from society? You know, why are you treated any better than that? You shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. You should be in like fucking prison or something.
Those slip and fall cases, in those whatever cases, they're wanting you to sue the company. So this doctrine is going to be unavailing if you don't actually sue them. And until you do, I don't understand how it opens. Again, even the discovery that this person is. I understand that they have a subpoena, a third-party subpoena against Reddit, but that's just to get the identity of these people. And why would you put yourself out on a limb like this, legal mindset, by accusing Reddit of doing something illegal, just based on the words of this person? Why not just like tailor your statements a little bit more, and not? Just
I went for shoulder. I felt like pedophile or murderer was just like it's too common to just use pedophile or murderer, but. Obviously, there's quite a gap between pedophile and shoplifter. Well, I mean, pedophile's not the action. We'll say child rapist and shoplifter.
Believe everything you read on the internet before it's proven in court.
The crazy employee. You don't want those employees around because of vicarious liability.
Here's the thing. This isn't a state of mind. You're actually doing something here. So this is... Treated like a child rapist, I think, fits better for this type of person that goes to legal mindset for analysis. I think that's pretty much equivalent.
Because you can be responsible for the actions of those employees.
Done in the scope of their duties.
If they go
Absolutely. And especially, this is what could even make it worse, if they knew about it. Because that's really what happens is that, and this is how like a lot of the like massive settlements for like sexual abuse end up happening. This is my understanding. And obviously, you know, Andrew knows more about this than I do, but my understanding of it is that one of the big reasons why the settlements get so big.
Yeah, because as someone just said in chat, he's just been recruited into Mythic Talent. Their talent agency. So Asmongold and Ladyboy Mindset are chill now.
Is because there was already prior knowledge that this was an issue and it wasn't dealt with and they didn't care. And so not only is it happening, but it had a...
Why is this relevant to an infringement case? This pattern of like abuse that was occurring as between like employees where there's potentially like negligent hiring theory that's premised on, I don't know, assaults that are taking place in a corporate context. Yeah, maybe, you know, there's some more there, but this is a simple infringement case, and you're going off the rails.
Pattern of happening, and they allowed it to happen. That's really bad.
Crazy. You might be on the line
negligence,
just like this, exactly like this. If you have an unhinged Reddit mod, which once again is a massive risk, if it's somebody like this, you've got to fire them. You've got to get rid of them because they've now endangered your entire company. All of Reddit is at stake.
Yes, it's at that point. It's no longer the decision of. It's no longer a value decision. It's just a legal obligation that you have to fulfill in order to protect the nature of the company. No emotions, no feelings, no who's right and who's wrong or who deserved it.
These guys are such
You just have to do it. That's just the way it is.
Because of what they've done. They're completely open to discovery. They're completely open to liability. And because of
liability
for
they
provided that software.
Liability for what, sir?
They're gonna be on the line for potentially a massive amount.
A massive amount for what? For offering software to people to take personally identified information off the internet? Like if people start releasing like, I don't know, your address. How could, or your like social security number, how could that be relevant in an infringement case so you would be destroying evidence? Has this guy even thought about it 1%? The statement clearly encompasses PII. In what sense is PII relevant evidence in a copyright infringement case?
And once again, getting that liability and discovery could destroy Reddit as a company. But what do you...
It could destroy Reddit as a company, said unironically. And people on the internet and on Twitter have been using this guy's judgment. Does this show good judgment? That someone will be like, yes, Reddit might go down because of this. Does that show someone who's hinged, someone who has calibrated legal takes, no citations ever to any case law whatsoever? Millions of dollars. This could destroy Reddit. Spoliation of evidence.
they're going to be on the line for potentially a massive amount.
Massive. What do you mean massive?
And once again, getting that liability and discovery could destroy Reddit as a company. But what do you guys think about it?
How absurd, man.
Unhinged, delusional. And by the way, if it happened, I mean, wouldn't you guys be pretty pissed if Reddit were destroyed because of Ethan Klein's copyright lawsuit about content nuke? That's the goal here. The goal here is to silence Redditors.
Yes, yes, yes. Pisco Klein not catching on yet. Asmongold and this Ladyboy Mindset fucking loser are MAGA fucking shills through and through. So, right now, it is just, oh, isn't any legal action against any company that's remotely perceived as left-leaning actually fucking awesome? Isn't any crackdown of the government, any lawfare, any... literally anything. Isn't anything against any company with any remote perception of being left-wing? Isn't any punishment against them justified at all times now? Yeah. Yeah, let's make 100 videos about it. Let's dox a bunch of employees. Dude, I truly, it's like so difficult to cover this when I have to like talk within the constraints of TOS about people like Nux, about people like Asmongold, about people like Ladyboy Mindset. It's fucking horrendous.
Okay, now you got me. Now I'm listening.
Do you guys think Reddit is going to go down?
I don't think Reddit is going to go down, but I think that what
the voice of reason here is Asmongold right now.
Happen is that, so this is my scenario that Reddit could be negatively affected, is that as soon as Reddit is discovered to have been cooperating and involved with a lot of this identity assassination, character assassination.
Hey, Asmon, it's not a defamation case. Why would there be discovery about character assassination stuff? It's about copyright, bro.
Defamation, like
it's not, defamation is not being alleged.
There's a reason why Ethan's not going after them on defamation too. There's a reason why we're doing a copyright lawsuit right now and not a defamation lawsuit. Because surely Ethan would much rather they were forced to retract their statements. Obviously.
Edits and statements, and then running all this stuff.
And also, by the way, Section 230 is going to be there for some of the defamation stuff. To the extent that, like, wait, is Reddit promulgated material that's defamatory? They have Section 230 protections.
Themselves from the top down, then they effectively are voiding their accountability from Section 230, because not only are they're not a platform, they're publishing it themselves.
And then they say platform publisher. That means this guy doesn't know about Section 230. He doesn't know the legal terminology. That's an instant indication that these are lay people, which we already knew, but it's always good to, have that confirmed.
The company's doing it themselves. Gawker, yeah. I think Gawker is a good example. Gawker was a massive company, a huge company.
Gawker was a publication. Gawker was sued for publishing information about a person as an online newspaper. Completely different.
Yeah, TMZ kind of. And they effectively did something similar to this, not one-to-one. It's actually not that similar, but it's kind of similar. And this is like publishing Peter Thiel's sex tape. And Peter Thiel couldn't sue them entirely, but Hulk Hogan could. Peter Thiel funded Hulk Hogan's lawsuit against Gawker and ended and destroyed the entire company because Gawker outed Peter Thiel.
Based on substantive violations of law and liability. But nothing like that is being even alleged. What is being alleged as to Reddit? This is a little unhinged that you would allege illegal content from Reddit with this amount of proof. The proof is a guy said that he was employed at Reddit. Probably a joke, maybe not. And there's an infringement case. And some nothing statement about privacy software for personally identified information, which is not relevant to the copyright infringement case. That there's alleged a conversation there. And you're going to the races and saying, this is like Gawker, Reddit's going down. Insanity.
For being gay. And so that was it. Hogan dropped a leg on him. Bro, yeah. Yeah, he did. He went wild on him. And Cash already said they need to go back over Section 230 for social media. Yeah, Cash has said a lot of things. I'm more interested in what he does, but that's a much smaller list.
Cash is he said a lot of things. Like he's gonna get rid of Section 230. A law? I didn't know the FBI director could, delete statutes of Congress. I didn't know that the FBI director could void the Communication Decencies Act. That's a new one to me. I mean, these Trump guys have 2 brain cells.
Now, isn't it? Anyway, my point is that if this is happening with Ethan Klein, what do you think the probability is that it's happened with other people also? Well, I know what the probability is. 100%. Absolutely.
That this happened? What's this? You haven't even defined what this is. 100%. Reddit, wait. They hired a guy who did a promotion of a stream, which was copyright infringement. And then 100% gave those people privacy software.
Okay, let's skip through a bit. Wait.
Maybe address the substance of what I'm saying, that these guys are totally delulu.
Which is what the big difference here.
Well, listen to what does he not remember? I'm not talking about credentials right now. I'm not saying I'm better than them in the sense of like I'm a better person. I think I'm a better person, but that's not what my argument is being based on. It's being based on facts and logic, brah. So if you have an issue with the things I'm saying, why don't you address the things I'm saying and not like who I am as a person?
W facts and logic.
Maybe address the substance of what I'm
Epic
saying, that
facts
you
and
guys are
logic.
Totally delulu.
Stating it, which is what the big difference here is.
Would you like to see Reddit go down? I want to know what you think in the comments below, and I will catch you on the next one.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got
Unironic.
Oh my God. Like whenever I heard this video, or I heard about this, I assumed, or I read the title of the video, I was like, there's no way. But this actually could be the first domino of very many. And I think that's really kind of what's going to happen, right? And YouTube, yeah, this is really, really bad. There's no way to verify he's a real employee for now. What?
What?
You realize, like, I mean, what do you what? You think you can't figure that out?
He says right now you can't verify that he's real. Listen to what does he not remember what just was said?
What? Could be the first domino of very many. And I think that's really kind of what's going to happen, right? And YouTube, yeah, this is really, really bad. There's no way to verify he's a real employee for now.
For now. So he very clearly says for now. What?
What? You realize, like, I mean, what do you what? You think you can't figure that out?
Yeah, for now you can. You have to wait.
Really? Like, I mean, do you I think that there's a lot of people that don't understand the breadth of tools and resources that the government has in order to investigate different situations.
Yeah, the FBI's on this.
You have no fucking idea. They would figure that out in like an hour. Really, like an hour. Think about how you would. They named him in the legal papers. Yeah, HR has to verify it. Yeah, of course. And he fell to LSF Clayboat. Yeah, you can, but his message says nothing. That's what he meant. His message implies that he worked with them. And if he's stating that,
yeah, no one doubts that. The question is he just telling a joke?
He worked with them, and then it's defined that he's an employee. Is that not probable cause to pull every fucking
probable cause?
Dude, they've got a. There's a clear shot of Hassan's dog's collar. Surely someone can cross-reference and find out exactly what model of collar that is and prove whether Hassan is abusing his dog or not.
So now he's conflating like the criminal standards for a warrant.
Message he has, because
for every message, why would you get that? I want to remind everybody here that when you get in discovery, the discovery needs to be tailored to the claims at issue in the case. You get me? So you get responsive documents. That's what you're looking for, responsive documents. And responsiveness is in terms of whether they relate to the cause of action. So why would you get all his messages that don't relate to the video posting? And also, why would you get any of those messages either? I mean, maybe there's a theory of you need to like have some evidence of intent for this particular theory of the Reddit mod, but I'm not sure how that includes this wide sweeping like defamation claim or the wide sweeping harassment campaign stuff. That's just not included in the lawsuit.
I certainly think it does, and I think that any judge and any jury and any lawyer would agree with that. It's obvious. The guy's saying he's working with them. Obviously, you should figure out whether he's working with them, right? It's common fucking sense. And so this is one phone call. Yeah, this is instantaneous. Look at private investigator Stephen Rabbaum and Hope Conference. They can damn near any information they want. Yeah, of course. Look at the crazy video Eric Daughtry just posted.
Okay.
Given by the that's the case.
All right.
It was decided.
So I mean, what does Piscos say? Does Piscos cover this guy as well?
With someone else, right? So we're gonna make a movie together. And that guy, this guy, I have open that secret knowledge. Tomorrow, my video is going to be edited. If you say that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Uncivil Law. And for today's episode, I wanted to follow up on a recent revelation relating to the ongoing lawsuit by Ethan Klein versus the Hassan Orbiters. As I'm sure many of you are aware, various people that are associated with Hassan Piker decided to start restreaming Ethan Klein's content, even though they had been previously told by Ethan Klein not to do this. And we're doing it anyway. And then, not only that.
Please don't infringe my copyright, like that matters.
In their videos where they streamed it, basically announced their motive. They said we were doing it for the purpose of taking money away from Ethan Klein, denying him traffic.
And for that reason, I've already explained why that is not super relevant. If you want to know more about that, you're going to have to go back in the VOD.
The money. He's a bad guy, so he shouldn't get the money. We are doing it to deprive him of the views, the money, the revenue relating to this. And we are going to watch his video in total and restream it to you. And that we know that we're doing this, and this is our goal and purpose in life. So that was pretty bad, because not only do you have this restreaming of the content itself, which potentially you could get into a fair use analysis depending on the nature of the reactions and stuff. So potentially, but the fact that they say we're doing it for this purpose of denying him money, denying him revenue, denying him traffic, that is not a legitimate purpose. In fact, it is
the purpose inquiry of the first factor is objective. It's not subjective.
Yeah, it's an objective analysis. It's not about the statements. Yeah, okay. I've heard this a million times before. I understand the legal arguments and the rest of the lawsuit. I don't want to watch this for a fifth time. Okay.